Hello and welcome to Board Games Opinions in Depth. I'm Mark Windle.
I'm Sarah Hillier.
And in this episode we're talking about Runewars. So Runewars is a miniature tabletop game by Fantasy Flight, and we've played a couple before. I think the main one we've played was Armada.
Yeah.
But I've also tried X-Wing, and in a long time ago I played about Warhammer. And we've also tried Attack Wing, which is probably the most similar to this, because it uses the Wings of War template movement system. But it has also got ground troops, which obviously X-Wing and Armada don't, because they're set in space. So why did we pick this up?
Well, we picked this up because we do like Armada, but it is absolutely epic. And for a night after work, after you've got in and you had dinner and everything, you can't really pick up a game of Armada and actually start playing it, because the setup takes quite a while and it is quite in-depth of going into it. You have all like the different upgrade cards and everything. Whereas this, it's a lot more of a pick up and play. You do have some setup with it, but we could play this in an evening.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to do. And we wanted to keep with a miniatures game, but we just couldn't justify the time given to Armada for an evening.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, because going back to playing Warhammer, I've always had the miniatures itch that many people will know about. And so I wanted something more rank and file like this, but maybe just a bit smoother, less to take in, less dice chucking, less building of army lists, etc. Just generally to smooth it better. So, I mean, it's a miniatures game, so the first question everybody's going to ask is, what's your thoughts on the components? The miniatures, the bits.
The bits. I quite like the bits. So I've taken a gravity towards the undead troops, mainly probably because when they're up, then the artwork, they are depicted in purple and aren't getting enough of purple. Hence why you can see that on here. Purple way. So I just love the way that they're done. I mean, you've got archers here, and then you've got swordsmen and axes, so you've got like your battle troops, and then you've got this really cool little thing here with a skeleton riding it, and this then spits.
Worm thing.
Yeah, it's a wormy thing. It's quite weird. But then you've got like a double wielding axe guy with these antlers on his head. Some of them are quite out there. It's like your golem is very cool.
I mean, the general quality of the actual build, the physical quality of them is good. It's relatively solid plastic, not quite Games Workshop tough plastic. I don't know how the rest, but it's slightly soft in a board game, but they're sharp, they're detailed, they look good. They should be fairly simple to paint. There's enough detail on them. They were a bit annoying to put together. I mean, unlike anything else by Fantasy Flight, you will have to put these together. Most of the stuff is push fit, but particularly ones like these archers, the arms are just so springy that they just pop out the socket. So you are going to have to glue these realistically going forward. So while it is a Fantasy Flight game, it is a miniatures game, and they're not hiding from that. So I'd say the thing that sets this apart from most of the miniatures games, or the main thing, is the initiative system. Where, if you're used to X-Wing, etc., where you set your stuff hidden, it's very similar to that, but it has got its own differences. How do you find what they call the action setting and the modifier setting, which are the two wheels on it?
So I can obviously compare this towards Armada, and I do apologise if you guys haven't played Armada and you've done other things. So I actually really enjoy these because you can then, the battle is going on in front of you, so you know what you're going to need to do. So it's certain things on here that if you want to move forward, sorry guys, you might not be able to see this properly, but you can then choose like your different movements. And then if you choose the modifier that's the same colour, or if it's the white one against it, then it can go with anything. So it's a case of, it might be that I'm doing my my troops here, and these will obviously want to be charging in. So you can do it so that they move forward, and then you can do it so that they will go -1 on their movement, but they get to move and attack. I think that works actually really quite well. You don't have to then think about, right, well, I can only move that bit, then next turn I can attack here, you can do this. You can actually do it all in one. And I like turny things. I know that probably sounds a bit silly, but if you're like me and you like going into places and pressing all the different buttons, then this will really scratch that itch as well, because you get to turn it.
I mean, they work very well for working out the initiative. So, for example, where's a good example? Let's find the knights. Here they are. If they want to do just essentially the way that initiative works in this game is that each of the main action ones have a little white number next to them, and you start counting from 1, and then when it hits that number, that means that unit can take its activation. So, like a short move on the knights is initiative 3. But if you go all the way up to the long move, it's initiative 5. So you're having to work that out against what you think your opponent's doing to time it, so that you get your movement, your charging or whatever. I also really like them because I feel that they set the biggest balance between the different troop types. Because, I mean, have you got the over there, like the skeleton ones, these ones? Yeah. You think, within the game, both the standard swordsman and the standard skeletons are 1 hit, 1 armour. So they look almost identical reading the physical cards. But the big differences between the units are actually mainly come on these, in this case, because, I mean, these guys got shields, so you can select on the modifier the shield symbol, which means they get +1 defence. That's not available for the skeletons because they can't do that. And just generally, like, the humans might move quicker or have slight variations to what they can do because they're more organised. So while you normally build an army list going, okay, well, I can read your stat line, in this you need to take account what actual abilities are available to them via these actual dials. The other main thing in this that you can probably see already is these all come on trays. Like you can see the black tray that are all equally sized and each unit fits on. What's your thoughts on the trays?
For the big miniatures, I find that they are slightly pointless. Just because it just feels like it's an extra one, and at times they do come out very loosely, so they are just like. They are meant to sit within.
You can put them within units sometimes, so that's why they have still got the base.
I think because we haven't got to that stage yet, that's why I'm thinking it's a bit extra. That it's just another little bit of a fiddly thing, but it's really good in relation to the movement because they slot in, so you know exactly how far they're actually going to move. The only thing that I would say that is not wonderful about the trays is when you've got them into this group of 4, and say if your opponent has killed off one of your trays, they're quite fiddly to get off. That was actually very easy then.
Normally it's a lot harder to do.
And you'll end up with miniatures all over the place, and then you can't figure out exactly where they were. And that they can be a bit stiff to get in.
And that's really important because Fantasy Flight normally likes to run tournament level stuff.
Yes.
And players are going to find that annoying, the fact that they're going, I'm trying to move this, get this out. And you move the unit, and in a tournament, people could take that too seriously and go, well, you're moving the unit, you need to remember where you put it. So I wish they just made the lugs in them a little bit wider. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if they wobbled around slightly, as long as when they're flat they didn't come out of the but instead you're kind of all playing about with it and messing about. I do like the fact that the trays are used in game though, because I mean these guys are a great example of them. For every tray you have in your front rank you do 2 damage rather than 1 damage when you get a hit on a dice, and for every full rank you have behind your main unit you get a reroll of dice. So they do have reasons to be there. And they work well with a system of, if you think in a lot of miniatures games, you might end up rolling lots of dice the more miniatures you're rolling. Well, in this it says, well, 2 ranks are now every hit's worth 2 damage. So it gives you that rolling to hit damage, but in a much more, just a quicker way. You haven't got to roll bucket to dice. Unless, I mean, obviously that might be what you like doing. And what's your thoughts on the variations, well, the factions that are included in the box, and the variations between them?
So I've had a demo game previously with these ones, so that's why I've kind of gone with these ones, because I've had a little bit more of an experience with them. They are different because I've now played these twice and the humans once. They are different, but they're different in good ways. It's like the golem is just so cool. It's very slow moving, but it is powered up by the magic.
Which are those?
Which are these little tokens, which they could have made these maybe a little bit better. But because I can just see these getting a little bit dogged because you have to shake them up and then drop them.
Yeah, have you ever played Runebound? It's the flipping system, so essentially you shake them and then whatever side they land on is what they are. And yeah, just some of the golem. Some of the golems' abilities, like his movement speed or one of a choice of music, are affected by magic. So the more a particular symbol appears, the quicker he can move, which is cool. Or how strong he is. It's entirely down to the magic, and it works really well. And that's just different. Never seen something like that before.
No, but I think the other troops in the human side are quite standard, what I would expect.
Yeah.
But the golem makes it on that side. That would be the reason that I would then choose to play the humans again. Whereas on these, I'm kind of like undead. It's like,
well, I mean, they regenerate, don't they?
Yeah,
Which is a very undead thing.
Like with the magic thing, if you get the green symbols and you get to regenerate your standard troops here. This guy, as I mentioned earlier, if you're within a certain range, it gets to spit, and it's really, really different. I mean, your archers, they're standard archers.
Yeah.
They will literally just be able to fire. If you get them into a battle, they are incredibly weak because
that's what you want them to be.
Yes, absolutely. But I find that it's the bigger miniatures and these ones that are a lot more fun to play with.
Yeah. So, do you have any other particular positives about the game you can think of that haven't been covered?
I know I mentioned it slightly earlier, but I love the way that the movement works. I'll get a smaller one so that you can see it on here. So you would then just pull this back. So you would line this up to your front here, and then as you can see on here, you've got like cut-out bits. So in Armada, when we played it, it's like, oh, well, it's to there, and then
tool that zips around.
And you can sort of, sometimes if you're like, oh no, I'll just move it there slightly, because sometimes I just really want to beat him, so I'll move it forward a bit too much. But here, you can't do that. It literally will go in and it slots. And you can't move it any more forward.
I mean, that's pretty similar to how the X-Wing system works. They've worked well, but the tools are designed well, and they cut in sharp with that.
Yeah.
I do like, as a separate one, the morale system's quite simple and fun in this. Essentially, one of the sides on the dice give you morale effects, and the more you get to, for every one you get to draw each more morale cards. So say I've got two of those symbols, I get to draw 2 cards, and then I look, and if any of the one that got 2 or less, so in the case of this one's got a single one, I then can choose this one. So I've got 2 with 2 or less, I can pick one or the other. So it gives you more options, but it also gives you various effects. And again, it's simple. It's I mean, it's just like, oh, I've got 2, so I draw 2 cards. Yep, that one, I play that. Works really well, but you do get that morale effect as units start getting fearful, and if you do like crushing things and you get like 3 symbols, you could do terrifying stuff to your opponents. I mean, the scenarios also, we've tried a couple of scenarios. I mean, they're again the standard sort of miniature. Like we played an escort one where you had to get a unit to a particular place on the board, and there's another one where we had bits lit all over the board, and if we could pick them up, we got points for them. But generally, I mean, it's all. I think the main thing to say, it's smooth. Other than the actual getting the units out of these, the whole thing is designed to be smooth, and it is smooth. It's quick. You just go through your rounds so quickly, much quicker than I expect. But it works very, very well, and that's the thing that we were happiest about it. Like Armada, where especially when you have like a big ship on Armada or whatever, you move it through a load of little ones, and you have to split them apart. There's none of that. It just works, and it keeps quick.
It flows.
Yes.
That's the thing. You've not got a lot of like downtime that you're having to sit there and wait for your opponent to actually do something. Because of how these work on the initiative, you literally just go through 1 up to, I think it goes to 8 or something like that. And it's just like, yep, go.
And that guessing's really cool. Of going, when do I think you're going to go with those? Because almost to the extent like with my knights, I've been wanting to hold them back as long as possible because I think that your unit's going to move into my range, so I'm going to pick a later action. Yeah. And it just works really well. Any negatives? Any further negatives?
The only thing for me, and I know that you can buy these separately, and I know it's just another way to get a little bit more money out of people, is these scenery bits are great, but as you can see here, when it's just put on a wooden table, it doesn't really give you...
You mean, you've got to buy a mat to make it...
You have to buy a mat, which...
I'd say more the fact that you have to buy a second dice set's a bigger problem as with always a fancy flight. But yeah, I mean, that's
we could live with only having one set of dice. I mean, the dice are not that expensive.
No.
You can just go and pick up another.
But a mat really does add to... But then, at least, I mean, one of the reasons we got this is because it does fit on a 3x6 table, standard dining table, unlike Warhammer, etc., which needs a 4 foot, which means you end up having a board on top of it, which means you've got to store a board. It is more home friendly, which is like an important thing.
Yes.
I mean, the scenery, it's standard cardboard stuff. The way it sort of works, it actually works better with you having the standard scenery, because you randomly just deal out cards to choose what goes on the table. So, as it stands, will we keep it?
I think so. Partly for me with like a war game is it's not usual a game that I would actually pick up and play, because I don't like games where it can just be one-sided or the other. With the scenarios that we've been doing, it's not felt like that. So until it actually starts feeling like that for me, I would say that we will be keeping this. Yeah,
I mean, I think the main thing is that we need more troops, which as a time of talking about this, other than buying another base box, it aren't available. We've played essentially half a real game. Well, we've played multiple games, but the amount of troops are meant to be double the amount. You're meant to be selecting more of an army. But yeah, I think it shows promise. I think that's about, based on the base box without playing the full 200 points, it definitely shows promise. I mean, value for money wise, it's decent. I mean, it's 100 UK pounds, which is $100 actually in the moment. Obviously, there's online discounts, but it's expensive. It's probably they're unpainted, unlike previous stuff, but then you get more, so you have to take that into account. But it's all right. It is on the pricey side, but I guess no miniatures game's cheap from the get go, and you at least get a variation of what you get in the box.
You can yes. It is pricey, and obviously it took us quite a while. We ummed and ahed about actually purchasing it, and that's why I went and had a demo game to give me an idea of what it would be like, because I didn't want anything, as I said, to be one-sided. So then it was, we thought about it, we discussed it, and then we thought, oh no, we will get it. So yes, it is on the pricier side, but you couldn't walk into Games Workshop or Warhammer or anywhere and actually pick up a game that you can just play straight away.
Well, you can get the base boxes, but I think you're in a similar situation. You'll get a variation of stuff in the box, but it's still never going to be a full army. It just doesn't. You don't get it. You've always got to buy more.
Yeah.
So, what's your rating out of 10?
I would say that this would be about 5 to a 5.5. I can't give it anything more at the moment because we need to go into it a bit more. So hopefully we might be able to do another review later once we've had a bit more play.
Yeah, for me at the moment, I think it is somewhere. I am enjoying it, so I go somewhere around to 6.5. But it's hard to give it the full review until we've got larger armies. I think that. So that's a hopeful, positive sort of thing. Well, this has been Board Game Opinions in Depth. I've been Mark Windle.
I'm Sarah Hillier.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.